Good afternoon to all the students who have joined us today at this fortnight program organized by Board of Studies Academic of ICAI to unlock success through clarity, strategy, and confidence. As you all know, this fortnight program is for CA intermediate course students appearing for September 2026 examinations. In this fortnight program, so far we have conducted 7 sessions, today being the 8th session, and the session is on paper 6B, strategic management. The session would be taken by CA Arjit Sethi ji, and who is our subject faculty. You might be knowing him. And by our BOS faculty, Dr. Ruchi Agrawal. Both the faculties have already joined with us. We welcome you both, Dr. Ruchi and CA Arjit ji.
Thank you, ma'am.
And students, you have been saying in the earlier sessions, similarly, today also, the faculties will take you through some of the very important aspects and topics from this paper. They will also help you to understand how to avoid some of the common mistakes. And the faculties would also be taking the queries which have been sent by you. They will be responding to those queries during the session. So I would request all the students to please take note of all this very useful, valuable inputs and points that would be shared by our faculties at this session. And I also have one request to make to all the students. We are sending you feedback form. Please do fill the feedback form at the conclusion of the session. Your filled in forms really help us to understand your learning needs. So do fill the form at the end of the session. So with this, I hand over the session to Dr. Ruchi and to CA Arjit Sethi ji. Over to you, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all my future chartered accountants who has joined today with us. I sincerely thank each one of you for taking time out to attend this session, this fortnight program. Your presence itself reflects that your commitment towards the success, right? Today's session is not going to be like theoretical lecture and all. Here, it is designed to be practical, interactive as much as possible for us, and examination oriented. By the end of this webinar, or you can say the session, you will have complete clarity about the examination pattern, then clear understanding of the mistakes students commonly make, as ma'am has already mentioned in, then practical answers writing techniques, how you have to present the answer. This is the question which many of the students have asked us, that ma'am, we know the concepts, but we don't know how to write the answers, how to articulate the answers. So we will take up this, as well as focused preparation strategy for the next 50 days. You have now 50 days in your hand from today onwards. Today is 17th of July and your paper will be on 12th of September, right? And greater confidence to approach to the examination. That much we can assure as a faculties of strategic management, me and Arjit Sethi. We will try to give you that much of confidence, that much of comfort, so that you can do excel in your examinations. Remember, students, that strategic management is one of the most scoring paper. Why? Provided you understand the concepts and know how to apply those concepts in the scenarios. You have to understand the concepts as well as how to apply those concepts. That is very, very important. So let's begin. Part 1, I'm going to share the screen. This session is divided into 7-8 parts. And with this, I can say this is the flow of the webinar. First, we will discuss the exam paper pattern, then avoiding common mistakes which generally students do during the examination, then challenging topics, and so on, mastering answer presentation skills, real exam situations, real exam questions, scenarios are there, and lot of things are there. 50 days strategy, then a week before the exam strategy, then during the exam what you have to do, and rest all. Right, with this I will start with part 1, that is understanding the examination pattern. Before we will start, I can say that please do not take any stress. Do your best and forget the rest. This is what you have to follow while you are sitting in the examination hall, right? So first, before preparing for any examination, students, it is important to understand how the paper is designed. What is the ideal paper pattern? So this paper 6 consists of 2 sections. Section A is financial management, which is of 50 marks, and section B is strategic management, again of 50 marks. Our focus today is on strategic management. Now let us understand how these 50 marks are distributed. So you will see in this slide that we have divided these 50 marks into 2 parts. First is compulsory MCQs, which is of 15 marks, and another one is 35 marks of descriptive questions. The descriptive portion includes compulsory case-based questions as well as the optional questions. In the compulsory MCQ-based questions also, it is further divided into 2 parts. One is case scenario-based questions, and on the basis of the case, given case, you have to, you can say, solve the MCQs arising out of from the case scenario. As well as few independent MCQs are also there in your examination. And all these MCQs are compulsory. While in the descriptive portion, it is also divided into 2 parts. One is compulsory case-based questions, and another one is straight questions, or you can say the comprehension questions. Please, students, it's an important point to an important point student often overlook is the skill level. Which skill level is going to test in the examination? So the level 1 and level 2, there are 2 levels during the whole paper. You can say we will going to test your comprehension and knowledge skills as well as your analysis and application skills. 30 to 35% is comprehension and knowledge. That means questions test conceptual understanding. While 45 to 70%, that is analysis and application based, where questions assess your ability to analyze and apply the concepts. So that's why I have said in my first line that strategic management is nothing about to understand the concepts, and secondly, to apply those concepts in situations. Therefore, memorizing definitions alone is never enough. The examiner wants to see how effectively you can apply strategic concepts to business situations. Right? So with the next slide, we will come avoiding common exam pitfalls. What are the common mistakes students generally do during the examination? Now let us discuss the mistakes that prevent students from scoring well. This is the question we generally ask students that, ma'am, how to score good marks in SM. So first mistake generally students do, memorizing without understanding, mugging up the concepts, which is very wrong. Many students simply learn definitions. Instead, understand why a model exists, when it should be used, and how it helps organizations taking strategic decisions. This is very important. Always connect their theoretical concept with practical business examples. I can give you an example. For example, if I ask you that which model should Zomato use to evaluate the competition from Swiggy? I'm giving this example just for that nowadays everyone is using this, Zomato and Swiggy. So you tell me that if Zomato wants to know that what is the potential of the competition and other things are with Swiggy. So immediately, what should come in your mind? SWOT analysis or BCG or Porter's, value chains, strategic mapping, what? Immediately it strikes out that Porter's 5 forces model, right? So the correct answer is Porter's 5 forces model. Generally, students identify the correct answer, but they will not be able to write that what is being asked in the question and how we have to write. Remember, students, in the examination, simply naming or identifying the model or writing its definition is not at all enough. The examiner expects you to apply the model to the given business situation. Like for Zomato, I can say, we will see one by one five forces model. In this situation, rivalry among existing competitors. Who is the existing competitor? Swiggy. So what is the potential of existing rivalry among existing competitors? It's very high. It's very high. Zomato and Swiggy compete aggressively through discounts, faster deliveries, loyalty programs, and other exclusive restaurant partnerships. Right? Like threat of new entrants. Our next force is threat of new entrants. What is the potential? Here the potential is moderate. Why? Although the technology platforms can be developed, but building a large delivery network, brand recognition, restaurant partnerships, but it needs significant investment as well as time, right? So that's why we can say the threats of new entrants is comparatively moderate. Then bargaining power of buyers, customers, right? It is again very high. Customers can easily compare prices. If you are a customer, you are also a customer of Zomato as well as Swiggy, so you can easily make out it that you will also compare the prices, switch between apps based on the discounts, offers, delivery charges, packaging charges, and services quality also. Then bargaining power of suppliers. Who are the suppliers in this case? Suppliers are restaurants and delivery partners. So the potential is again moderate to high. How? Popular restaurants have the power to negotiate better commission rates. Delivery partners may demand higher incentives during the peak periods. Where the demand is peak, the delivery partners may demand more or higher incentives. So that's why we can say that bargaining power of suppliers is moderate to high. And then last force given by Porter is threat of substitutes. It is again high. Customers may choose to dine out. They may cook at their home. They can order directly to the restaurant through apps, through websites, or we can say, or use any other quick commerce platform, or they can go for ready to eat, etc., etc. So students, while you are identifying the tool, the concept, you have to write the answer as well. Therefore, Porter's 5 forces model is the most appropriate framework because it helps Zomato analyze the competitive intensity of the food delivery and formulate strategies to strengthen its competition. Wherever a case asks you to analyze like competition, here is the tip to learn that wherever in any of the case, it is asked by the examiner to analyze the competition, industry attractiveness, market forces, or competitive pressure. Think of a Porter's 5 forces model. You have to learn like that. Do not just define the model. You have to apply each 5 forces to given case. This application-oriented approach is what earns higher marks in strategic management. Generally, students ask me that how to score good marks in strategic management. These are the steps by which you can score better marks, right? So our next slide is mistake students generally do: ignoring case scenarios practice, MCQs and case scenarios practice. No, you know very well that it is of 15 marks. Our MCQs are of 15 marks out of 50. So we can't ignore practicing case scenarios and caselets. Nowadays, examinations are increasingly application oriented, right? So you have to solve the RTPs, MTPs, not only this time's MTPs, you can refer previous MTPs as well. Previous questions, papers. Practice through case scenario booklet. We have case scenario booklet, as well as you can practice the MCQs as well as the case scenarios, and arising out of those case scenario MCQs, you can practice through MCQ practice portal. We have ample number of questions over there. In strategic management, we have 54 case scenarios already uploaded over there. Just think, 54 case scenarios. In every case scenario, there is 5 MCQs. You just multiply the number and you will find out that there are ample number of questions and case scenarios. And apart from that, independent MCQs number are also good. Around 300 MCQs are there. So you can practice over there. Do more and more practice. It will help you while you are writing in the examination, right? The more scenarios you solve, the easier the examination becomes. As simple. Next is ineffective time management. How it is: never spend excessive time on one difficult question. Attempt the questions you know first. It hardly matters whatever is the number. If you know the question very well, 6th question or 7th question, you can start with it. Build confidence. Return to difficult questions later on. And please remember that reserve at least 10 minutes exclusively for revision. Whatever is left, you can do it in those 10 minutes, right? Next is writing lengthy answers, unstructured answers. Students generally write vague answers, unstructured answers. Many students believe that writing more earns more marks. No. Actually, examiners reward relevance. Please remember this, not the volume that you have written a one page. It will not serve the purpose, dear students. Write point wise, under headings, bullets, using strategic terminology, or you can say the keywords exactly according to the requirement of the question. Don't write unnecessarily contents. Ensure that the keywords and strategic terms are there, which reflects your subject proficiency. Right? For caselets, adopt the STAR format. I will discuss elaborately the STAR format later on. Thereafter, next is inadequate practice, lack of excessive practice or revision. Reading repeatedly cannot replace writing practice. Please remember, students. Generally, what students are doing, they simply read the study material. They always said, ma'am, we understand the concepts, but we don't know how to write. But in the examination, we were not able to write. Why it is so? It happens only when you had not done writing practice. So please, reading is not sufficient. You have to do practice by doing writing. Allocate at least 1/3 of your preparation time to solving the questions. Next is avoiding strategic models. Use of strategic models, because they look like that they are technical. No, they are not as much complicated. Just try to understand. Students sometimes avoid like SWOT, POTUS, or you can say other BCG, ANSOFs, ADL. There are so many models, but don't avoid that because they appear technical. Students feel like that, but it's not like that. Instead, learn where and how each model is applied. Application always fetches marks. Remember this. Many students simply write like SWOT. If there is a question put up in the paper that SWOT analysis, about the SWOT analysis, students simply write strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. No, instead apply this. How? Like I can give you an example of Apple mobile phone. Right? I'm giving this example just because this is close to the heart of our students. Am I right? So what is the strength of Apple? Strong brand loyalty. Think like that. What is the weakness of Apple phone? Premium pricing. Although people are willing to buy it, but its weakness is still premium pricing. What is the opportunity? Expansion in AI-enabled services. They may come. And what is the threat? Increasing competition from Samsung and other smartphones manufacturers. Right? So you have to think like that. While you are reading any of the concept, you have to apply those concepts in your real life scenarios. Then only you will able to understand the concepts well. Now the model is, next is missing keywords. Missing the keywords. Every subject have its own terminology. Right? So we have to write those keywords. The key to good marks is the keywords. Examiners looks for strategic language. He's not looking for simple language. Use the terms, whatever the terms are there, like environment, strategic terms, phrases, or if you say value chain, competitive differentiation, whatever is are the terms, you have to use those terms while you are writing the answers. Appropriate terminology immediately improves your quality of the answer. Right? Next is selective study. Selective study. Each chapter carries importance. Remember, students, each chapter has equal 15 to 25% weightage, so prepare holistically. You can't do selective study here. Do not ignore any chapter simply because it appeared recently in the examinations. Don't be like that. Prepare comprehensively, prepare the whole syllabus. Next is reading the entire question carefully. Don't misinterpret, don't misread questions. Understand that what is being asked, apply and give the explanation. Always identify whether the examiner is asking for concept, for application, for analysis, for recommendation. Read the question carefully. Before writing any answer, please read question that what is being asked in the question. Next is lack of real life examples. Thousands of examples are there in your day and day out life. Please read more and more examples. From where? From your business newspapers, business magazines, news channels, wherever you see, thousands of examples are there. Strategic management becomes much stronger when supported with practical examples. Business news, mergers, acquisitions, digital transformation, strategic alliances, startups, marketing strategies provided excellent answers. Next is ignoring suggested answers. ICI suggested answers show exactly how answers should be structured. Please read the suggested answers, previous question papers, previous answers. Study them carefully that how we have to write. Next is getting stuck on one question. This I have already catered, that do not allow one difficult question to affect the remaining paper. Move ahead. If you don't know that particular question, move ahead, return later. We have reserved 10 minutes for our revision. At that time, we will see that what we have to do with this. Next is overuse or incorrect use of diagrams. If the diagram is essential, then only you have to draw that. Otherwise, there is no need to draw unnecessarily key diagrams. Draw diagrams only where they genuinely improve the understanding of the concept. And don't decorate the answers and all. It will not serve the purpose. There is something which needs here is keywords, right? Is the correct content, I can say. Next is lack of revision before the exam. The final week is meant for revision, students, not learning the new concepts. Prepare concise notes, flashcard, mind maps, whatever you feel. Use Saransh for quick revision also. We have in pictorial form, we have a booklet called Saransh, wherein we have put it all the concepts in short form so that you can revise the concepts, but that is meant only for revision, not for understanding the concepts, right? So these are the few things which you have to taken care while you are writing the answers. Then our third phase of this webinar is challenging topics. What are the topics which are challenging at different platforms? We generally find queries from the students, and from there we have catered few of the topics wherein students feel that these topics are challenging for them. These topics are generally, they face difficulties in these topics. So few of the topics we have come up with. These topics, these are the concept you must understand thoroughly, like vision, mission, difference between vision and missions. Generally students feel that we are not able to find out that what is the difference between these two. Strategic intent, values, strategic risk, value chain analysis, strategic group mapping, Mandlow's core competency, and so on, like SBU structure. There are so many topics like that wherein students feel difficulty, they face difficulty while writing or understanding these concepts. Like few of the metrics are also there, GE, BCG and all, and leadership styles, wherever you feel. So we have come up with few of the topics. While studying these topics, always ask yourself, students, what business problem does this concept solve? I'm going to repeat you this question because just after a fraction of a minute, CA Arjit Sethi, your faculty, our guest faculty, will take these topics. So that's why I'm saying before he will start, just ask yourself this question, that what business problem does this concept solve? Whatever the concepts he will take, you have to ask from yourself that what business problem does this concept solves? Once you answer this question, remember, the concept becomes much, much easier and you will never forget that concept also. Think like that, and then you will start. Over to you, Arjit, and take our students forward with the challenging topics which they are facing.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
the wonderful
Thank you,
tips
Arjit.
for our students. Again, my dear friends, I know it's the season of football. The World Cup is going on. There is high intensity around you, and you've been spending late nights watching matches. And I'm also hoping you're preparing well for the exams as well. We know football is important, but let's focus on exams as well, right? So again, challenging topics. Again, we call it challenging topics, but essentially they become easier when you understand them. And like ma'am said, if you start applying those concepts, they are no longer challenging. They are the most interesting things you will learn for your examinations and beyond. Okay. And I believe, before I start this, I believe every exam is like a PhD. Okay. When I say PhD, it's not the doctorate of philosophy. Simple PhD for me, for any exam, big or small, anything that you care about, is first is preparedness. If you're preparing well, half of the battle is done, right? Second is H, which is hard work. It will ask some portion of your hard work. It's not going to be easy. We all know that. And D is discipline, right? If you have discipline in your entire preparation, your PhD, preparedness, hard work, and discipline, you're going to be number one in your examination, okay? With that, let's start with the challenging topics we have. And we begin with the first one. Or before that, okay, interesting. Before you and I get into the topics, there is a trick of learning certain concepts. There is a trick of learning something new when it becomes challenging for you. We call it mnemonics, okay? A concept which has been there for ages, and a lot of people use this, and we would encourage you as well, if you can use these. They become easier for you to remember, okay? Now, for example, what you see on your screen, like a pestle analysis, we all know what a pestle is. When you have to study the macro environment, you use a pestle analysis. That's a mnemonic in itself, which means we are shortening the entire meaning of the entire or the concept into small, small letters, which are easy to remember or easy to recall. Okay. So pestle, political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environment. Something like a SWOT analysis. Again, SWOT. If you read those letters separately, it's SWOT, but we call it SWOT. So it's easy to remember when you have to see, if I have to analyze both macro and micro environment together, what do I use? I use a SWOT analysis where I get to see my internal strengths and weaknesses and the external opportunities and threats. That's a mnemonic, an easier way to remember a particular concept, right? Now, SMART objectives. The characteristics of objectives are to be SMART. SMART means they have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, right? The question in exam comes, what are the different characteristics of a good objective, right? SMART. If you remember the word SMART, it's easy for you to recall in the examination. That is a mnemonic, okay? The VRIO framework, VRIO, VRIO. What's VRIO? You have learned about competitive advantage, right? The characteristics of competitive advantage. One, they have to be valued by the customer. They have to be rare. If everybody is doing it, it's no longer a competitive advantage. It's a common thing out there. So it has to be rare to be an advantage. Imitability. सब copy कर सकते हैं. Everybody can copy your thing. Doesn't make sense. It's not valuable anymore. Imitability should be as low as possible. And number 4, organization. It should be used. It can be used across different organizations. It should be used across different industries. It stays with you. It's your advantage. You can take it along wherever you go, right? So VRIO framework, that's a mnemonic. Porter's 5 forces, right? It's TBBT. You read TBBT, you see T2B2I, right? You can do a T2B2I. What's T2B2I? 2 T's, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes. 2 B's, bargaining power of the buyer, bargaining power of the supplier. And I, industry rivalry, right? You can remember a Porter 5 forces like a T2B2I. 2 T's, 2 B's, and I's. These are called mnemonics, and these are certain things you can use for yourself when you're reading the concepts from the study material or the Saransh, which is a fantastic booklet for you to revise from. You can use these techniques to remember the concepts, okay? Create it for yourself. Create something which is easy for you to remember. Don't make it very confusing. Don't make it super creative. I know a lot of people start making river names, movie names, and all of that. You can do that, but you get confused. It's easy when you have like a T2B2I or a SMART, words which are very easy to recall, okay? So you can use those things. That's a good way of recalling your concepts, okay? Now, talking about concepts, like ma'am said, every concept becomes easy and important when it is applied to a business. So let me take you through each of these important concepts which have been shared by the students, by you all, in terms of where you get mostly stuck with or get a bit of a confusion. So we'll take you through those, some of the important topics. So let's say, my dear friends, most of us know, as chartered accountants, as experts in finance, you would know most of us want to save a lot of money for healthcare, right? We want to create a huge fund for healthcare. So let's say I see a business opportunity here. Let me discuss that business opportunity with you, and then we go through every concept using the same example, okay? I see an opportunity here that I want to create a healthcare system, maybe a hospital, maybe a platform where a lot of Indians can go and get affordable healthcare. Okay, that's an idea. That's a problem statement I see in the society, in the economics of the country. Maybe there's an opportunity that we as individuals can create a business out of. Let's say we take that opportunity. Okay, this is again a macro analysis. Now, what is my vision? A vision is something that tells me where I want to be in the future, what I want to actually achieve in the future from that business. My vision is to bring affordable healthcare to every Indian. In the future, in the long term, I want to make healthcare affordable. That's my long-term futuristic vision where my business is going to be. Okay. What is my mission today? My mission today is actually answering how am I going to achieve my vision in the future? What are the things I would be doing today to achieve my vision in the future? So my mission today is to open 50 clinics which are affordable and give accessibility to Indians. Okay. My mission could be to open 50 clinics in the next 3-4 years to achieve the overall vision of making healthcare affordable for India. Okay, so vision statement, my dear friend, it helps you identify what business a firm is undertaking and how is it going to achieve that particular vision. Vision is a long-term clarity of where we are headed. Mission answers what actually are we going to do to achieve that vision. Okay, sticking to that same example, right? You see here, the vision asks, or the question the vision will answer is, where are we going? We are going to make healthcare affordable in India. Mission, why do we exist? My present day-to-day purpose, my day-to-day actions defines what I do. I am going to work on creating 50 affordable clinics across India. That's going to be my mission, to create those healthcare centers. Okay. Now, a vision and a mission statement is giving me a clear path of where my business is headed. I will now not get confused. If tomorrow says a new opportunity comes up, oh, there is a cryptocurrency opportunity, there is this opportunity. No, my business has a very clear vision and mission statement, what I want to achieve, and I will keep focusing on that. To clear your business from distractions, to clear your business from a lot of ideas and focus on execution, you need to have a clear vision and mission statement, my dear friend. Okay, that is a vision and mission statement. Intent and values. Again, the same thing, making healthcare affordable for Indians is my vision. Okay, what is my intent? My intent is a healthy India. My overall intent is a good intent of creating something good for my country, right? The overall intent of the business is creating something valuable for the people of my country. That's an intent. A business without an intent is just a profit-making machine. That's not what a business should be. A business should have an inherent intent. Why does it even exist? Right? Why are you even doing a particular business? Yes, making money is a portion of doing a business, but that is not the only reason you particularly do a business. For me, in the given example, I would say the intent is to make India healthy and make healthcare accessible. Everybody gets access to good healthcare. That's my intent of doing this business, right? And the values that will happen. So values are all these things that inherently shape my decisions, big or small. Okay. My value systems of the business, the values are those deep rooted principles of the business which shape every single decision, big or small. It can be as big as an acquisition of a company to as small as hiring somebody for my business, right? Those decisions are shaped by my values. Values can be being transparent, being kind, being truthful, right? Having integrity, being when I say being ethical, I don't want to do anything unethical to build my business, to grow my business. I want to be truthful to my employees, to my customers, to people I want to serve, to the authorities, to the government. I want to be truthful. I'll be very transparent. I don't want to do any hanky-panky things. I want to be very clear. I want to be very ethical in the way I want to do business. Those are my values. These deep-rooted principles that shape every single decision that a business takes are called values. They shape your decisions. These are the deep-rooted principles. Ma'am was talking about using keywords, deep-rooted principles. Those are the keywords for your values. Vision, where you want to be, keyword, where you want to be. Mission, what are you doing in the present to achieve your vision, keyword. Okay. Intent. Why do you even want to do this business? The answer to why keyword is an intent, my dear friend. Okay. That is how whenever you're reading a concept, applying a concept, and also understanding the keywords while you're revising. Okay. Now we are in a stage where we are focusing on our revisions for the exams, 50 odd days left. Start remembering, start recalling these keywords whenever you read a concept. The keyword should pop up in your mind. Okay. Very nice. Again, I was talking about values, ethics, transparency, responsibility, professionalism, teamwork. These are some examples of values. Okay. Strategic risk. No risk, no reward. That's what a business is all about. But strategy itself also has a risk. Now, strategy is futuristic. It's a continuous process. Keywords again, my dear friend. Strategic management is a continuous process. It's a cyclical process and it's future oriented. Future, neither you know nor do I. None of us knows the future. So we base our strategies on some assumptions. We take some assumptions based on trends, based on ideas, and we create a strategy. Our strategy is based on an assumption, and that assumption can go wrong. It's okay. Strategy is a cyclical process. It doesn't mean my strategy is a failure. My strategy will now have to change, but there is a risk in your strategy. That risk can be of 4 types. It can either be short term or long term, or it can be external or internal. If it's a short term external risk, which means you interpreted your environment, your assumption was wrong. So it's a short term risk, which is based on the external factor because something assumption you made did not fall as per your calculations. Long term external, the environment, the external environment changed altogether. AI comes into the picture. Artificial intelligence comes and it changes everything around you. That's a permanent change in the external environment. External, long term, it has changed forever, right? Short term, internal. You thought people will not like your product, but people went super impressed by your product. Now they're asking for more and more and more, but you do not have the capacity to produce so much of your products. That's an internal short-term risk, that your assumption, the organizational capacity cannot even meet the demand you have, or vice versa. You thought people will love your product, people don't like your product at all. You have a wasteful inventory. That's also a risk to your strategy. Then is a long-term internal risk. Your founders, your co-founders, people, the key people in your company start leaving for XYZ reason. They could be a personal reason. They want to move abroad. They want to go for higher studies. They got a better opportunity. People you were banking upon to build your business, they leave your organization. Can happen. It's okay. That's life. So that's a long-term internal risk to your strategy. 4 types of strategic risks you have to remember, my dear friend. Okay. Nice. For example, in the current scenario across the globe, you will see there is a lot of oil crisis. Some countries are facing they have no petrol left, or even if they have, the prices have shot up to the worst levels in the history. That is happening. That is a risk to the strategy. Now, businesses would have not assumed that the oil prices will go up. The cost of bringing, importing, and exporting very raw material needed for the business will increase to certain level. Their profits are shrinking, their markets are going down. People don't have money to spend into the economy. Things are not moving. It's a phase of economy, right? But currently the strategy is failing. Again, it's not failing. They have to change. They have to adjust. And that brings me to another topic from chapter, proactive and reactive strategy, my dear friend. Start interlinking the concepts as well. Companies, businesses have to be proactive, but they also have to be reactive. They have to be reactive when there is a strategic risk. Risks will happen. Businesses will have to learn to react. And one of the advantages, you remember, if you revise, one of the importances of strategic management is it helps a business to be proactive and to be reactive. So strategic management helps manage the strategic risk through being proactive and reactive. Okay. Again, I'm giving the tip of the answer. If a question comes, what are strategic risks? How a business can solve for strategic risks? The answer is already with you. The 4 strategic risks, and by being proactive and reactive, a business can respond very quickly and swiftly to strategic risks. Okay. And again, why are we telling you this, my dear friend? You know all the concepts. I know you know all the concepts. It's just about how you start linking and drafting answers. I know all of you really want to know, how do I write an answer? I know the concept, sir. I know this. How do I frame my answer? This is how you frame your answer, my dear friend. Okay. Let's go to the next topic that a lot of you get confused on is value chain analysis. Value chain analysis, let me explain you in the simplest form in 30 seconds. Every single activity from the very basic level to the most advanced level that you do in your business is part of your value chain analysis. From procuring a product to making it, to marketing it, to branding it, to building technology around it, to after sales services, to delivery via trucks, tempos, autos, on cycle, on bike, however you want to do it, everything is part of the value chain analysis. वैल्यू चेन एनालिसिस का इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है? Why do I even need to do a value chain analysis? I'll give you 10 seconds if you know the answer. I'll take a pause. Why do we even do value chain analysis? What will I achieve from value chain analysis? Okay, think. I'll anyway give you the answer. Okay, value chain analysis, my dear friend, is used to create a competitive advantage. Seriously, yes, my dear friend. You pick up anything from the value chain analysis and you become the best in the industry on that particular thing in your business. That's going to be your core competency, and that core competency will convert into a competitive advantage. क्या बात कर रहे हो? Yes, my dear friend, that's how the concepts are. A value chain analysis helps you identify one particular thing in your business that you will be super good at. You will work on it, create a core competency on it. That core competency will become your competitive advantage. That is value chain analysis. Primary and support activities, right? I know you know this. I'm not going to go through every activity, but value chain analysis is broken down into support activities and primary activities. Strategic group mapping. Talking of competitive advantage, talking of core competency, why do you even need a core competency? Why do you even need a competitive advantage? Because you need to win over the competition in the industry. But the question then comes is, how do I know who is my competition? There are 10,000 brands, there are 20,000 entrepreneurs, there are 1 lakh people in the country, in the globe doing the same thing that I want to do. I am saying affordable healthcare as the previous example. Do you think I'm the only person thinking about it? There will be thousands, even lakhs of people who are already working on it. So how do I identify who is my competition? You do that using a strategic group mapping, my dear friend. It's a concept which helps you identify your real competition. It puts every competitor on a graph, the 2 parameters on X and Y axis. The beauty of the concept is you can choose any 2 parameters. You can choose any 2 parameters of your choice, basis which you want to identify your competitors. I want to compare my competitors based on their pricing and the value of their product. I want to compare competitors based on the customer feedback and the locations where they are present. I want to compare my competitors based on the source of their raw material versus their cost of production. I can do anything, right? It's based, as a business, as a strategist, as a business owner, as a financial consultant, as a strategist, can choose any 2 parameters to find the right competition for my business. The size of the bubble tells you what? The size of the bubble tells you either the revenue or the market share of that particular business. The bigger the size, the bigger the player is. When we say bigger, bigger in terms of either revenue or market share. All keywords from the concept are given. 2 parameters, bubble size, x-axis, y-axis. That's how you write an answer. Give an example, or if there's an example in the question, pick up that scenario thing, explain why do you even want to identify competitors, how strategic group mapping helps you, and how from the case scenario, this particular thing will help the business achieve the goal of identifying the right competition. Okay. The next concept we have is core competency. Again, something you are excellent at, something you are absolutely fantastic at as a business is your core competency. One, it is differentiated from your competitors. Two, the customer values it. And number three, application to other markets. You can apply that particular thing to any market, any business that you go. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you are a student and you're extremely disciplined. No matter whatever exam you give, you want to give a chartered accountancy exam, you want to give an MBA, you want to go a UPSC, you want to do whatever in the world, you want to start a business, whatever exam, a school exam, a college exam, my dear friend, your core competency is your discipline, right? You can apply this core competency wherever you go, you will succeed. The same thing happens with a business. If their core competency is technology, if their core competency is having a great set of people in their organization, they can use that set of people and apply it to different industries. That's the core competency. Okay. Then the criteria for core competency, VRIO, we were talking about, right? Where it has to be valuable, rare, non-imitable, and organization, non-substitutable, right? No other organization, no other place can go and use it. We have already discussed about it. Again, criteria, keyword. The question comes, what are the criteria for core competencies? This is what they are. Let's take an example of Narayana Health. What is their core competency, right? From the very example I was giving you, Narayana Health is a very well-known hospital chain in India. And their core competency is world-class, high-quality medical care at a very affordable prices. And every individual in India can have access. That is their core competency. And they're able to do that by keeping the cost very low. They are doing a lot of things internally within India, right? They're manufacturing in India, they're getting Indian doctors, they're trying to control the cost, they're trying to control wastage. If you go to a hospital, the core competency is in trying to bring their cost down, and that's how they're trying to build a core competency of affordability. And that is helping them achieve their competitive advantage, which is the next topic I have. A competitive advantage is the outcome of a core competency, right? The key characteristics, durability, it should last long. It shouldn't be a 3-day, 5-day, 3-month advantage. An advantage which goes on for years and years and years. That's a competitive advantage. It should be appropriable, right? It should give you return on your investment in the business. You should be able to make money. You should be able to create value for your customers from that advantage. कोई use case ही नहीं है, कोई return on investment ही नहीं है of that particular advantage, then it's not a competitive advantage. Imitability should be nearly impossible. People should not be able to copy your competitive advantage, and transferability should be tough. It's not like if you are you have an advantage, you can pass it on to somebody else. No, it should be very tough to pass on that advantage to somebody else. It should be very close and advantageous to yourself. Now, a lot of students come and ask me, we get confused between core competencies, criteria, and competitive advantage. You will. That is why. Why? Because competitive advantage is an outcome of your core competency. It is the end result of your core competency. So that is why you will see an overlap between the criterias and the characteristics of core competency and competitive advantage. Don't get confused. Remember those things, the VRIO concept for core competency and the competitive advantage, which is discussed, transferability, durability, appropriability, imitability, right? Everything has ability at the end. You can remember for your exam purpose, okay? Don't do rote learning, never do rote learning, but it's easy to recall. Some techniques help you recall in examination. That's the only purpose, okay? But you should learn to apply the concept and understand the concept, okay? Nice. Let's go to level of organizations very quickly in the interest of time: corporate level, business level, and functional level. The high-end decisions, the big decisions of allocation of resources sits with the corporate level. The business level is more responsible for the business units or the divisions, right? The market segmentation, how will you capture that market? How will you build that particular market or product is business level, and real execution of the steps of functions is with the functional or the bottommost level. So 3 levels of the organization which are interlinked, but they have their own set of ownership and responsibilities. Okay. Then comes another concept, concentric diversification, right? It can be related and it can be unrelated. A concentric diversification basically is when it is related to your existing business. If there is a relation between the businesses, it's a concentric diversification. If there is no relation between a new business that you're trying to do, it is a conglomerate business. From a water bottle making company, if you start a school, it's a conglomerate. But if a shoe making company starts making jerseys like an Adidas or a Nike, that's a concentric diversification. Let's understand with examples, okay? Let me take you to examples here first. Horizontal diversification, the horizontal diversification. Now, sports apparel company adding sports nutrition bars, protein shakes, and all of that. That is horizontal diversification. They're going in the same line of the business, but related to their existing business, the same line of the business. A jewelry store adding perfumes, the same set of customers, different products, a new business for them, but still related to their existing business. An ice cream business adding confectionaries, right? That is a horizontal diversification. Then there comes a vertical diversification. Let me give you an example of a real estate company like Sobha Developers, right? Now, Sobha Developers, they make buildings, housing societies, and big complexes. Now, if they start manufacturing tiles and interiors and furnitures and beds and sofas and chandeliers, they start manufacturing them that as well. That is a backward integration, because as a developer of house, they today buy from somebody these raw materials to decorate the houses that they create. If they take a step back and they start making those things themselves, they're going a step back in their existing business, taking a step back and building a business out of it. That's a vertical diversification, and I'm telling you a backward diversification. So Sobha goes a one step ahead, starts in its own real estate agency of selling other companies' flats also. Let's say Sobha Developers becomes an agent to sell an M3M or a DLF flat as well. Now they're going a forward integration, because the first point of contact with customer are the real estate agents. Now they are becoming the agents also themselves. In the same line of business, they're going a step forward. Vertical diversification, but forward. And if they go to the tiles and furniture businesses, backward. Okay. That's concentric, still related to their business. That's why concentric. Agar related nahi hota, it would be conglomerate. Absolute no relation in terms of business, technology, processes, the keywords. If a business is expanding which has no relation to the existing technology, existing processes, existing business concepts, it's a conglomerate business. Another topic most of the people can get confused with is formulation and implementation of strategy. Difference is very clearly given in the study material, even in Saransh. Whenever a question comes to strategy formulation versus implementation, my dear friend, the table has to be your answer, right? Very clearly, formulation is ideation, this is execution, it's a people scale, it is about operational processes, so on and so forth. A lot of you start giving examples and writing paragraph answers. Avoid that. If a difference is asked very clearly in the question, please present your answer in this tabular form. It helps. Okay. Then comes strategic change. Change is the only constant, right? Now, strategic change, my dear friend, a lot of you, because it's a long concept in the study material, I agree. You will get confused, you will get bogged down by it. But strategic change is simply understood by 3 steps by Kurt-Lewin model. The very foundation of understanding a strategic change is, but again, the question is, why do I even need to change? Because of strategic risk, because of the environment is dynamic, the world is changing. I have to change with times. That is why your strategy has to change. Now, Kurt-Lewin model says, first you unfreeze the situation. Whatever is happening currently in your business, unfreeze, break it down. Bring about the change you want to bring in your business, be it technological, people, structural, whatever change you want to bring in your business, bring that change either through compliance, identification, or internalization. Compliance is up reward karo, you give them rewards, give praises to people who change, you punish who don't. Identification, make role models in your business. Senior leadership has to bring about the change themselves. Internalization, people should feel that, yes, we need to change, motivate them, explain them why you want to change, internally change their mindset. And that brings about the change. Finally, when the change is brought into the organization, refreeze it, make it permanent. Make it permanent. Tell people this is how things are going to be in the future. This is the new way of doing business. Refreeze the change. Unfreeze, bring about the change, refreeze. Keyword, Kurt-Lewin's model. Kurt-Lewin model, unfreeze, bring the change, refreeze. Cyclical. Okay, very nice. Then we go to an example. For example, now people always ask ki strategic change kya hai? A newspaper creating a subscription-based online magazine. It's a change of business strategy. A car company shifting to electronic vehicles. Petrol companies moving to EVs. Strategic change hai. A bookstore getting into e-commerce platform. Strategic change hai. Now, these change for these organizations will come when they unfreeze their business, they break it down, they bring about the change, and then they refreeze and become the new business they want to be. Okay, that's a strategic change, my dear friend. SPU structure, one of the most modern and most frequently used for big businesses which have multiple businesses to manage operations, is strategic business unit, where every unit acts as an independent business, has its own set of competitors, has its own CEO, works in independent structure, but reports to the overall parent, right? SBU structure. Remember this structure. It is good to create diagrams. Again, from an exam perspective, my dear friend, a question comes a lot of times from the students. Do I need to create diagrams in the exam? Yes, if time allows. It is not mandatory, my friend. But if you can, please do. It really elevates your answer. But if time doesn't allow, do not be too emotional about creating diagrams. Good if you have, not a mandate. Okay. Now, types of strategic controls. People, a lot of times questions comes and most of you get confused between a premise control, a special alert, or a strategic surveillance, or an implementation control. A premise control, my dear friend, is checking your assumptions about the environment time and again. The premises, the premise of your strategy has to be checked thoroughly, regularly. That is premise control, the premise of strategy, assumption of strategy. Special alert control, something bad happens. For example, the Middle East war, oil crisis, Hormuz Strait, something is happening in the world. It's a special alert control. Every business has to now study, understand the impact of the business and react. Okay, strategic surveillance, going to conferences, reading magazines, reading newspapers, talking to people in the industry to get latest updates, random surveillance. It's a strategic surveillance of keeping an eye on everything that's happening in the industry. And implementation control, my dear friend, you have to control your implementation actions are on point. You create a timetable for your exams, but you need to check, am I on my timetable? Am I doing my revision on time? I am following my timetable or not? Implementation control. Monitor your actions. Have milestone reviews for your business every 3 months, every 6 months. Understand, are you on track or not? That is implementation control. Okay. Then there are certain other topics. Again, you would see some of the topics that are frequently asked, and a lot of you know this. I know it's all about, but importance and limitations of strategic management, the characteristics of how a mission statement should be created, right? Certain things, these are just to spark the thought in your mind that, yes, I know this. Look at every topic on the screen, my dear friend. Quickly read and see, can you recall what that concept was? That is what we want to spark with this webinar for you. Is you read it and it clicks you. Yes, I know this. Why do businesses go global? I know this. 5 forces, I know this. Key success factors, Mendelos, Michael Porter, I know this, right? So these are certain topics that once you see the answers, the key points, the image from the book should click in your mind. Okay. Let me now hand it over back to ma'am to help us go through how do you master answer presentation skills. How do you actually write the answers to get what you want, which is marks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Arjit. It was a very brainstorming session, I think our faculty has done. He has told you all the major, or you can say the concepts which students face difficulty, and he has elaborated the concepts with the help of the examples in a very, you can say, professional manner, I can say, or you can say that in a real time, he does his job like that as he is also a student. This is what we expect from a student, right? With this, due to paucity of time, we have to little bit rush fast so that we can give you maximum advantage of this session. So the point is mastering answers presentation. That how you have to write the answers, you have to show the answers. Knowing the answers is only half the task, as you all know the concepts, but it will not serve the purpose. Presenting it effectively earns the marks, scores the marks. So following steps are required, like begin with brief definition. First, start the question with answer with brief definition. Sorry. Use proper headings and subheadings. Write in bullet points wherever it is possible. Next, bullet points, clarity and structure hona chahiye. Then thereafter, star approach for caselets. Star approach for caselet. What is basically this star approach? The questions, you remember students, while we are discussing the paper pattern, we have discussed that in descriptive part, there are 3 independent caselet based questions which are compulsory. Students generally face problem while writing the answers of those case scenarios, those caselets. For that matter, we need to apply this star approach. What is basically this star approach? In star, S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R stands for result. Describing the content, define the objective, define the problem, then apply the strategic theory and then result is mentioning the outcome. What is the ideal outcome? What is the conclusion of the question? For example, I can help you out in understanding this START approach with an example. Let us say if in the question paper, it comes like that Tesla decided, everybody knows Tesla decides to enter in the Indian EV market by setting up a manufacturing plant and launching its electrical cars, right? Now, what you have to do, analyze the case by identifying that what strategy is being followed by Tesla, Tesla's competitive advantages and strategic risks it may face while launching in India. Here, how we can see this STAR approach if this is the case. So first you have to see that what is the situation. Situation is what? That Tesla is an globally renowned EV vehicle, plans to enter in Indian market, establishing a manufacturing plant over here and introducing its existing range of EV vehicles. Now, what is the emerging thing is India is an emerging market over here with increasing demand for sustainable mobility, supported by EVs are supported by government initiatives promoting electric vehicles. These all are the points which are mentioned over in the scenario. However, the market is highly competitive and consumers are price sensitive in India. You know very well. So this is basically the whole situation. So what is the task? Now what the Tesla has to do? The strategic challenge before Tesla is to successfully establish its presence in the Indian market. First is how? By leveraging its strength while addressing market specific challenges. This requires selecting an appropriate market entry strategy, sustaining competitive advantage and effective managing strategic risk. There are three things: how to enter in the market, how to sustain competitive advantage, and how effectively managing the strategic risk. These three are the tasks which Tesla has to do. Now, the third is action. A for action, apply those concepts. So first is which appropriate market entry strategy it has to opt. That is, Tesla is pursuing with a market development strategy. What is basically market development strategy and where it is? Under the Ansoff's matrix. So it introducing its existing products. Existing products are what? EVs. Into new geographical market, that is India. Right? That's why they are opting marketing development strategy. Existing products, new markets. Setting up a manufacturing plant also reflects an expansion strategy through geographical expansions. Secondly is competitive advantages. Now, how Tesla is getting the competitive advantages? Tesla possesses several competitive advantages like advanced batteries, technology, software integration, strong global brand image, continuous innovation through R&D, which is a core competitive advantage of Tesla. Advanced autonomous driving, an integrated ecosystem comprising vehicles, softwares, charging solutions, etc., etc. Then what are the strategic risks if they will enter in our country? While entering India, Tesla may face following strategy risks. What are those? intense competition from the existing EV manufacturers, such as Tata Motors, you can say Mahindra's, MG Motor, Hyundai, etc., etc. High price sensitive. Indian customers are high price sensitivity. Then limited charging infrastructures in many regions of our country. Then changes in government policies, import duties and EV regulations time to time. Supply chain and localization chain challenges are also there, and consumer acceptance and adaptation to premium EV products is also a strategic risk. Then what is our result? By doing all this, first, what is the situation? Then thereafter, what task has to be done? Then what action is being taken by the Tesla? And then what is the end result? By adapting this MDS, market development strategy, leveraging its technological capabilities and brand reputation, and proactively addressing the identified strategic risks as well, Tesla can strengthen its competitive position and establish a sustainable presence in the Indian EV market. This is how you have to write the answer. If a student write like that, if somebody writes that Tesla is entering India, no, it will not serve the purpose. You have to identify the appropriate strategic model or tool, like in this case, Ansoff's matrix market development strategy. Then apply the concept to the given case, how it is being applied. Then explain the company's advantage, risks, and conclude with a logical outcome. Then only you will get good marks in the answer. Right? Thereafter, next, key concepts, terminologies. Key concepts, terminologies. Students are advised to write the key terms. We are repeating multiple times that students, please write down the key terms while you are writing the answers. Use terms, definition, correct terms. It is very important to write the right terms. Right means correct terms instead of writing the vague answers, because otherwise it will not serve the purpose. Next is relevance and precision. You have to write the answers to the point, not write extra and you can say I can't say that extra. Don't write vague answers, irrelevant information. Whatever has been asked in the question, you have to be strict to that only. Focus strictly on what is being asked in the question. Next is support with examples. If it is possible, it is advisable to write the examples, write the answer. After writing the answer or the concept, please substantiate that answer with the help of the real-time example. It reflects that your conceptual understanding is more effective. Next is MCQ answering strategy. Case scenario based MCQs, how you have, there are two types of MCQs, case scenario based MCQs as well as independent application based MCQs. So case scenario based MCQs you have to write through after reading the scenario. Identify the key concepts, same, link with the scenario. You have to link the concept with the scenario only. That what is being given in the scenario, what information is given in the scenario, according to that you have to identify the answer, and application based MCQs. You can use this, sometimes it happens that sometimes you know the answer very well, you just simply find out the answer, but sometimes you get confused while selecting the answer. In that case, you can choose elimination wrong options. Choose the best fit answer if you feel that you are confused with two answers. Right? So in next is time management in writing. Yes, students, this you have to take care while you are writing the answers. Please stick to write the answers according to the allocation of the marks. Firstly, don't write vague answers. Unnecessary informations are not required. To the point and write the answers according to the allocation of the marks. Next is maintain neatness and readability. Yes, a well-presented answer creates a positive impression even before the examiner begins reading it. So please, the writing should be legible. One can read, one can understand what you have written in the answers. Next is real exam scenarios. Okay, before I hand over this session to our faculty, Arjit Sethi, few of the students have asked the question during the session, are case scenario practice taken on revision classes? Revision classes are live virtual revisionary classes are already over for September 2026. And the faculty has very much taken these case scenario practices. Next is, I'm able to identify the answer, but unable to remember point in each and every topic because already we have to remember audit subject. Oh, what should I do with this problem? There is only one solution, do more and more practice for that, students. Since you are in a professional course, so we can't say that please stick on one at a time. We need to become a multitasker. So as you know, you are saying that you are doing this audit subject as well as you have to do SM subject, right? One of the student is saying which activity in business give value and identify non-value adding activities. Which activity in business give value and identify non-value adding activities? The question is not clear that what kind of, are you talking about activities in business or values you are talking about or non-value adding activities? I'm really don't able to understand that. What basically do you want, Kuldeep? Please clarify your query. I think you are asking about before that the values and strategic intent topic was going on. So you are talking about those values or value added or non-value added activities. If something is for the betterment, then these are the value added activities. It is very simple, right? Anything else? So far we have received these questions, so that we have already taken care. After that, we will move to the session, then real exam scenarios. Here we are going to tell you that students, that how you have to solve the answers. In each question, pay attention not only to correct answer, but also to be use your thought process behind arriving to any conclusion. Right? that analytical approach exactly what the examiner wants from you people. So over to you, Arjit, to go
Thank you,
through
ma'am.
few of the suggested answers, or you can say the previous year question papers, and even the recent question papers, which we feel that students face difficulty while writing those answers. We have come up with those questions, and our guest faculty will take those questions. Please carry on, Arjit.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to answer in a lighter tone, to remember strategic management along with audit in the modern times, you need to buy more space. Just like Google gives you or Apple asks you, need to buy more space. You need to buy more space to remember all of these, because every subject will help you clear the examination. It's not a pick and choose, ironically. So every paper you'll have to. That's also the beauty of the exam, my dear friend. It's a holistic course. So that's how you build it. Okay. Getting back to real exam scenarios, we have certain questions for you which we have handpicked, where we have seen a lot of students facing confusion or hesitation in writing answers, or have faced challenges in how do you draft an answer for these questions. So take 15-20 seconds, read the question that is on your screen, my dear friends, and also make sure you see the mark, how the 5-mark question is spread across the entire question with a 1 plus 3 plus 1. Okay. So the questions can be shaped in any form and manner in terms of mark spread. When you see 5, it could be 2 plus 2 plus 1. It could be 1 plus 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3 plus 1. And that's where you also need to read the question very carefully, what is being asked. On your screen, what you see is a well-established company manufacturing tubeless tires. That's a major product for quite some time. The product has reached a maturity stage of the PLC, which is product life cycle. Company is aware about the competitive scenario and fast change in their technology. The cost-benefit analysis indicates it would be better to modernize. The basic idea is to remain competitive in the changing volatile environment, and sometimes having an objective to preserve their market share, which means to keep evolving in the dynamic market and to preserve their market share. As a student, when I read this question, a few keywords have already striked me when I'm reading the question. Preserve the market share. That's what I capture when I read the question. I read fast changing technology. That's what I grab. In a competitive scenario, that is what I grab. Product life cycle. So different concepts now strike my mind as a student when I'm reading a question. Now I am curious, what is the question asking? The last pair of the question says, suggest the specific corporate strategy to be adopted by the company in the given situation. So now I know, oh, they're asking me the corporate strategy, not Michael Porter strategy. Again, keyword, my dear friend, not Michael Porter strategy. They're asking specific corporate strategy. Also state the reason why should the company adopt, and justify your opinion of the identified strategy in case of startup. 1 plus 3 plus 1. First, identify. Second, tell me why it should adopt. And third, why should startups not do this strategy? It's a corporate strategy. It is not Michael Porter. So corporate strategies are of how many types? Corporate strategies are of how many types, my dear friend? Batao. Corporate strategies कितने types की हैं? Think, not Michael Porter, but corporate strategies. How many types of corporate strategies? 3, out of which the first one is what the answer is. Now read: stability strategy, growth strategy, or retrenchment strategy. The 3 corporate strategies are stability, growth, and retrenchment. The 4th one is a combination of all the 3, right? Ideally, there are 3 strategies, but a 4th one is also a combination, which is a combination of all. यहाँ पे कौन सी strategy use करनी है, right? That is what the question is asking. Now, it should adopt stability strategy. Please see how the answer is being written. You pick up facts from the question in your introduction, but you get the 1 mark of identification in the very first sentence. Company should adopt stability strategy. Now, stability is pursued when a firm continues in the same business, aims to maintain the market position, sustain, preserve the market share, wants to have the same market, maintain the market position through incremental improvements in efficiency and operations, wants to improve efficiency and productivity, maintain their market share. Stability strategy. Keywords of stability strategy. Your 1 mark is in your pocket. When to adopt stability strategy? When the product has reached a maturity stage. Okay, the product has reached a maturity stage in their product life cycle. Okay, answering the question. The staff feels comfortable with the status quo as it involves less changes. The staff is very satisfied, is very efficient. The learning curve is at the peak. सब सीख लिया है, कुछ नया सीखने को नहीं है. It is opted when the environment in which the organization is operating is also stable. It is adopted when expansion is threatening and rapid expansion firm may want to stabilize and consolidate itself. After a lot of growth, after so many years of growth, now they want to stabilize, they go with a stability strategy. Why should it not be used? 3 marks, 5 bullets diye for 3 marks. You can write 3 to 4 at least. See, the thing is, if you cannot recall 5, see how many marks they are asking. They're saying 3 marks plus 1 bullet to hona chahiye. Okay, please understand this. If it's a 3 marks, so don't just write 3 bullet points and come out from the exam hall. Jitne marks hai plus 1, it should happen unless the concept only has 3 bullets. If I go and tell you what are the 3 generic Michael Porter strategies, 3 marks. The 4th strategy you will not create, but stick to the 3 strategies. But when a particular concept has many bullets to answer, if I say what are the importance of strategic management, 2 marks. At least write 3 to 4 bullets, not more than that, not needed because it's 2 marks. Don't give me 6, 7 bullets. I don't want, because marks bhi hai, time bhi hai. So that's how you manage your time. What ma'am was telling, time management in the exam by looking at the marks. Jitne marks hai, please write plus 1 number of bullets, more than enough. Okay. Application to startups. Why? Because startups are in a growth stage. They are embryonic stage. If they go stable, they need development, speed, agility, money, expansion. That is why they do not go for a stability strategy. That is how an answer is expected from you to be written: an introduction, answer in the bullet form, and a final conclusion based on what is being asked in the question. Let me take to you a question where a lot of students hesitated. Very recent attempt. A lot of students read this question. They were very hesitant to attempt this question. जबकि ये बहुत ही easy question था. But they got confused in how the question was asked. In a modern competitive landscape, the interaction of supply and demand determines the price at which the quantity provided equals to quantities desired. ये तो हमने कहीं पढ़ा ही नहीं है पूरे स्टडी मटेरियल में, but ठीक है, let's see how the question is being asked. Analyze the inherent characteristics of business products that must be managed to maintain profitability under these market dynamics. A 5-mark question. And a lot of students were like, I don't know, I've never read this. But you have read this, my dear friend, you have read this. Characteristics of products. The key drivers of business, markets, industries, products and services, channels. उसके अंदर था products. Products के अंदर था characteristics of products. Business products, the 5 points here you see, products are tangible and intangible. Product has a price. Products have features to deliver or satisfaction to the customers. They are pivotal for the business. All decisions, designs actually come to developing a great product or a service. And product has a useful life. It has a life. It has a life cycle. So the characteristics of products were asked for 5 marks, and a lot of students got confused by the first statement. ये तो हमने पढ़ा ही नहीं है. This is out of syllabus. How can they ask such a tough question? The question was so simple. Characteristics of business products. Why are we showing you this, my dear friend? In the exam hall, the panic, the stress level is 10,000. Your brain is giving you stories. Very tough, very tough. नहीं कर पाएगा, नहीं हो पाएगा. Don't get bogged down with it. Read the question. Questions are very straightforward. Our examiners ask straightforward questions. Characteristics of business products kya hai? Simple question is what they have asked. You give them 5 characteristics of the products, which is one of the key drivers of your business, of the strategy. Give the product characteristics. It's tangible, has a price, has a life, has features to satisfy the customers, and it is pivotal for the business. 5 points in your pocket. Don't get stressed by the way the question is asked. Read it carefully. Understand what is being asked. आगे पीछे छोड़ दो. Question में पूछ क्या रहा है? Grab that. Okay. That's the art of being calm when you're reading a question. Simple questions you miss. You go and attempt a difficult question. You lose marks, and you get, even if you don't lose marks, you waste a lot of time. Okay. Just by being very stressed about this question, your mind gets into a stress mode. You lose 5-7 minutes. Don't do that. Relax, read the question carefully, and answer widely. Okay. Another question. Now, you see, question 5 is compulsory. Like ma'am was telling you how the exam is built. Question number 5 is compulsory. Now it comes question 6, 7, and 8. Out of 6, 7, and 8, you have to choose any two, either 6 or 7, 7 or 8, 6 or 8. And you have to answer those questions. Learn to select the questions you are confident about. That's why I put all the questions here. You will see I put 5 questions here. Question 7, 8, part A, B के अंदर भी option है. Okay. Now you have to solve, you have to pick which question makes more sense. There'll be a question 6 also. Let's say the previous one was a question number 6. So 6, 7 or 8 आपके पास exam में आता है. For that, what you need to do is you just only need not the art of answering the questions, the precursor, the pre-need, the preparation is also learning to read the questions, my dear friend. Learn to read the questions with a very calm mind. Don't rush. कुछ नहीं होगा, दोबारा पढ़ना पड़ेगा. You'll waste time. Learn to read the questions. Identify what is being asked. If you know it, solve it. Don't think twice. If you know it, solve it. Don't start picking, choosing, doing A, B, C, D. कौन सा करूँ, सब आते हैं मुझे. Good if everything you know everything. Choose the one which you can write fast. Time management की बात, ठीक है? So if you know an answer, start solving it. Don't think twice कि अरे दूसरा और आसान हो सकता है, नहीं होगा. You know the answer, write it. So the art of choosing the right questions is also equally important, my dear friend. It's 5 marks, 10%. Okay, let me add a stress point for you. 5 marks is 10% of the exam. So every question is 10% of your exam. So think wisely, think with confidence, think with a lot of calm mind when you're selecting the questions. Okay, you will have these, every question is simple. There's no tough question if you know the answer. Analyze the reasons why companies choose to globalize. Okay, I know the answer, I will write, I'll get 5 marks. Why is channel analysis more important for a business strategy? Explain different types of channels. Channels क्या मुझे पता है, online, offline, all of that. Yes, I know, I will write it. I'm not very confident. Don't solve. Move to the next question. मत सोचो दोबारा. Don't think, don't spend time. Time is less. Move on. Go to the next question. You have option in the examination. See how beautiful the examiner is. They're giving you options. They want you to clear the examinations. They want you to succeed in life. They're giving you options. Pick and choose. Use that opportunity wisely. Okay. Let's say I pick up question number 8A for our practice. Strategic uncertainty refers to the unpredictability of future events and circumstances that can impact an organization's strategy and goals. In the light of this statement, discuss how an organization can deal with and manage with uncertainty. Study material, word-to-word language is given in the study material, if you have read it. How does strategic management helps us to deal with uncertainty? Let's see how the answer was written. Introduction, always. Strategic uncertainty refers to the unpredictable future events which are beyond the control of the organization. It may arise due to market condition, technology, competition, XYZ. An organization can deal with strategic uncertainty in the following ways. 1, having a flexible strategy. Flexible strategy which can be reactive and proactive. proactive, diversifying their business, concentrate, conglomerate, either ways, it dilutes the risk. If one business is impacted, they can still sustain their business or growth from other businesses. Monitoring and scenario planning, like strategic control, we were reading premise control, strategic surveillance, keep doing that. You will reduce the risk or uncertainty in the business. Building resilience. Resilience means building strength, either financial, process. If something goes bad inside or outside the organization, you should have ample resources as a cushion to protect you. It can be finances, bank balance, processes, or disaster management modules or processes, right? Anything can happen. Be prepared for the worst times. That's called building resilience. Number 5, collaboration and partnerships. Build your relationships with stronger people, stronger partners, stronger peers. Get help from mentors, reach out to your competitors, join hands, get into joint ventures, strategic alliances, mergers and acquisitions. Do that because it reduces the uncertainty of the future. You have a place to back up on. Okay. Then a conclusion to the answer. Answer never ends without a conclusion, my dear friend. The format is simple. Intro, content, conclusion. Thus, organizations can manage uncertainty through these 5 things: flexibility, diversification, resilience, monitoring, and collaboration to remain competitive in a long term. Simple. Okay. Nice. Another question. You see, again, how do you, again, this is saying, you see 5 mark, I was telling you, it can be shaped in any way. 1, 3, 1. You see this question, 1 plus 2 plus 2. Now the examiner has twisted the question in a 1 plus 2 plus 2. What are they asking? First, classify, say no to sugar from the scenario above, read it carefully, and then tell me which BCG group category will you put it? Explain what strategies can be pursued in BCG after identification, 2 marks. And the last 2 marks, state the limitations of this technique of BCG matrix. First, identify, say no to sugar, kaun si BCG category hai. Then give the post identification strategies of harvest, grow, divest, kya hota hai. And then give me limitations of BCG. 1 plus 2 plus 2. Simple, straightforward, right? You identify, you say no to sugar is a star. Why it is a star? Explain that. Because rapid market growth and strong market share. The growth is high, the market share is high, it's a star. 2 categories in BCG covered. Post identification, there is build, hold, harvest, and divest. 4 strategies in BCG. Either you build, you hold, you harvest, or divest. And the limitations are, it is complex and costly, subjective hai. It only focuses on the present, not on the future growth potential. It only focuses on present growth of the products or businesses. Overemphasis on growth hai, less emphasis on other factors which can be potential in the market. So certain limitations of BCG which are already discussed in the study material, in Saransh, in LVCs, in LVRCs, and you are also revising when you're reading. So remember these. Okay. Again, 2 marks है सर हम चारों limitation लिखे नहीं, minimum 3 तो लिखना, 2 or 3. 3 is a very good number to write at least. चारों लिखोगे, time है, please write. Time nahi hai, you want to rush, you see your time, it's at least write 2 to 3 limitations because it's a 2 mark question. Okay. Again, time management. You know your time in the exam, we don't. When you're writing the exam, you know how much time is left. Design your answer in that way. You are the boss of your answer sheet. Okay. Design it with wisdom. Okay. MCQs, simple MCQs, tough MCQs. Some MCQs will come straightforward. What is the main focus of a business level strategy? Think. 5 seconds. Let's do exam practice. You just get 5 seconds in the exam. What is the main focus of business level? Overall direction, compete in specific market, day-to-day operations, allocation of resources. Business is all about how to compete in specific market. Overall direction is corporate. Day-to-day operations is functional. Allocation is again corporate. The business level strategy is about how to compete in a specific market, specific division of business. That is business level strategy. Okay. Another question, 5 seconds for you in the MCQ. A fitness center is facing competition from online fitness platforms that have similar services at lower cost, right? Which BCG, right? Threat of substitutes. Should quickly, similar products, low cost, substitute. Manufacturing company, streamlining its production process. Which part of value chain analysis? Processes, has to be operations. Processes are all about operations. Elimination method. Ma'am was teaching you, guiding you on elimination method. Processes can't be logistics. Logistics to nahi hai. Process marketing to nahi hai. Bacha kya? Operations. Tick and move. That's the right answer, my dear friend. Okay. That's how you practice. Elimination. Which stage of product life cycle is smartphone currently in? It has launched new smartphone, has rapid adoption in the market. Competitors are quickly introducing similar products. Competitors भी scale up कर रहे हैं. Which introduction में competitors नहीं होते, decline में नहीं होते, maturity में या growth में, किस में होते हैं? Growth में होते हैं, right? Because competitors are also seeing a potential. That's how you use these techniques we are discussing in today's fortnight webinar, my dear friend. Elimination, introduction नहीं है, maturity नहीं है, decline नहीं है, growth tick किया, move on. Okay, that's how you solve your descriptive and your MCQ questions. That's how you use all the techniques we have discussed in the webinar today to solve your questions. The last 10-minute segment, I would invite ma'am again to help us guide what do we do for the next 50 days, ma'am.
Thank you, Arjit. For next 50 days, now comes the most important question. It's a very important question in the mind of our students. How should you prepare from today until the examination? My suggestions are simple. First, strengthen your conceptual understanding. Firstly, you have to be thorough with the concepts. Thereafter, revise regularly. It will not work if you once understand the concepts and just close down the books. No, revise regularly. Thirdly, solve MCQs every day. It will brush up your concepts. Just log in the MCQ practice portal and revise the MCQs, solve the MCQs every day. Fourthly, practice descriptive answers under time limits. Write down the answers by setting the alarm. Fifthly, attend the classes, webinars. You can see the recorded classes of LVC as well as LVRC. They will brush up the concepts. Next, use Manomics wherever you feel and mind maps for your revision. You can refer Saransh for revision. Next, participate in the mock test papers, which is very, very important. And I have already told you that it is not necessarily to participate only in the upcoming mock test. Yes, of course it is, but you can use previous mock test papers also. Maintain your physical and mental health, which is very important, students. And finally, remain positive throughout your preparation journey as well as your examination. And consistency is always more powerful than last minute revision, last minute hard work. That's why I'm saying that do the things regularly. Don't give a break in these 50 days. Right? This is all about 50 days strategy. Thereafter, exam week strategy. What you have to do for exam week strategy. Do not begin any new topic. Don't read any new topic. Revise summary notes. Use Saransh. Revise important models. Sleep adequately and stay calm and confident. Believe in yourself. Now, the day when you have to perform, that is exam day strategy. Read every question carefully and plan your time effectively. Manage your time wisely. Attempt familiar questions first. Write structured answers. Use strategic terminology, keywords, and reserve the last 10 minutes for reviewing, for revising your answer books. small corrections sometimes made during revision improves your score significantly, especially in the MCQs and all. So that's why reserve 10 minutes for revision, right? Sometimes students frequently ask this question, ma'am, which resources are sufficient for preparation? Is the study material is sufficient for preparation, or we have to see some other books? So there are many materials which the BOS is providing you, like study material, your RTPs, MTPs, mock test papers, suggested answers, MCQ practice portal, Saransh, case scenario booklet, LVC recorded classes, LVRC recorded classes. You can ask queries through ICI mobile app, as well as today's session, like these sessions like today's webinar, and success at CA also. That is more than sufficient if you are thorough with the things. As also for practice, what you can do the live in the virtual classes, as well as in the live virtual revisionary classes, we have uploaded so many questions for practice in the form of assignments. You can go through that, write them, and see that what best you can do. These resources are more than sufficient, students, if you will utilize them thoroughly. Right? With this, students, before we conclude, I would like to leave you with a one simple thought, very simple thought, that please think like that every examination is not just a test of knowledge. Remember this. It is a test of your determination, that how determined you are, how disciplined you are, and most important is believe in yourself. I always focus on it, that please believe in yourself. Till that time you will not believe in yourself, you will not able to perform well. So first of all, remove the fear that these examinations are for testing your knowledge. No, it is the test for your determination, that how determined you are to secure, how determined, how disciplined you are, and how much you believe in yourself, your potential, your capabilities. The journey to become a chartered accountant is challenging. We agree. But every challenge you overcome today itself is shaping you to stronger in your professional tomorrow. Walk into the examination hall with confidence, give your best, and let your hard work reflect in your answers. Right? With this, on behalf of Board of Studies, ICAI, I wish each one of you great success in your September 2026 intermediate examinations. I repeat that students, please believe in yourself, stay committed to your goal, and remember the designation CA in caps is not a distant dream. It is not a distant dream. It is the reward of your hard work, your dedication, and your determination. That's it, what I can say. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed guest faculty, CA Arjit Sethi, for sharing valuable insights and making the concepts of strategic management more practical, relatable, and meaningful. My heartfelt thanks to also go to our technical team for ensuring the smooth conduct of today's webinar. Thank you, dear students. I wish you all the very best for your examinations and look forward to seeing you succeed in your CA journey. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Wishing
you.
everyone the best of luck. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Omji, it's over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Recording.